The district attorney's office, that we are both proud and I am personally a little relieved that the verdict came in a complete, absolute agreement with the charges that Eric Holder murdered Hermias Ascadam in cold blood. The jury convicted Mr. Holder of first-degree murder. They found true as special allegation that he used a firearm. The charge and the firearm allegation carried 25 years to life sentences. So we expect that with that count alone, and certainly the additional counts that he was found guilty of, he will be held accountable for that killing. We hope that today is a day in which the Ascadam family, the friends and fans of Nipsey Hussle around the world will find some measure of closure. Obviously, nothing that happened here today can heal the wound. Nothing that happened here today can restore Mr. Ascadam to this world. But again, we hope that there is some resounding peace in the fact that his killer will be in prison likely for the rest of his life. Today was more than just about the right verdict or the right outcome for this trial. Today was really about Nipsey Hussle and the legacy that he leaves behind. This verdict and the story of his life will be talked about for sure at Crenshaw and Slauson, but the meaning of it will carry far beyond those streets. And the legacy of Nipsey Hussle and the arc of his life, which started off in a shadowy place, ended up in a very positive place for him and for those that he inspired through the way that he lived his life, especially in his latter years. So as a community, we move forward from this. We move forward in the tradition of the marathon. We move forward in the tradition of young people who are in a situation that Nipsey might have been in 15 years ago and look to his life as an example of how they can get out of that situation and get to a place where dreams are made. And I hope that that is what people take forward from today. Any questions?
Counselor, you've got 25 to life on this gentleman right now, but you also had two men who were also hit by gunfire. There were gun enhancements on them. What do you plan to hopefully ask for in the way of a sentence all-encompassing on this? Are we going to see consecutive or concurrent sentences? How's that going to work out?
Well, there's a lot of time on the table. We're certainly happy with the verdicts on the first-degree murder charge and the gun allegation on that. The judge has a lot of options, and we have not presented the court with a sentencing memorandum yet, but I do expect to ask for more time than just what is available on count one.
When do you have an indication where we'll have a sentencing hearing on this? Any idea?
The sentencing has been set for September 15th.
John, can you talk about some of the either just difficulties or just the general experience in trying to get people to come forward in this case? You obviously had a very entertaining and well-regarded witness in Cowboy, but you also had struggles with some of the victims. You had to put on a body attachment that got quashed. How hard was it to get people to come forward, and how much that had to do with the snitching culture at the center of this trial?
Yeah, James, thank you for that question. This was not a gang case in a traditional sense in that we did not have a gang allegation charge, but because of who the victim was and who the killer was and where it occurred, it had gang overtones to it. And whenever you have a case like this one, you're going to have members of the community who want to be helpful, but who are held back. They're held back because of a culture that exists in the community that it is wrong to cooperate, even when you know in your heart it is the right thing to do. This so-called anti-snitching culture, which has plagued inner city communities for years, has got to stop. We have got to stop promoting this idea that gangs should be able to commit crimes in our communities with impunity. And it goes far beyond just the people in the community. I see celebrities wearing shirts and other paraphernalia that celebrates this anti-gang culture. We have to start speaking out against that because they don't live in these neighborhoods where this crime is taking place. It's a very serious problem. It affected this case. We had a couple of witnesses that we wanted to produce. We sought legal means of getting them into court. In one case, when it came to Evan McKinney or Rimpall, we were unsuccessful in getting him into custody, but we did try. I don't think his testimony would have changed anything, but obviously he was there for the entire episode and the jurors wanted to hear from him. I hope that answers your question. We did the best we could to bring the evidence in, and I think we got most of it in to the satisfaction of the jurors anyway.
John, can you talk about what happened to the second attempted murder count on Shermanville and Wayland?
Well, the jurors found Mr. Holder guilty of attempted voluntary manslaughter, which is consistent with what they found as to Carrie Lathan. The clerk did not read the verdict form for not guilty on second-degree murder, and it appears that maybe that form wasn't submitted to them.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
And what's the maximum sentence he can face?
I have not calculated the maximum sentence, but again, on count one, he's looking at 2 25-year-to-life sentences. On counts 2 and 4, he's looking at, I think, 6 years each. And on counts 4 and 5, because of counts 2 and 4, he probably will have those sentences stayed since they're directed at the same conduct. And then count 6 is a pretty low-grade felony, but he's looking at 16 months. So if you do the math,
About 38 and a half years to life.
Does that include the gun enhancements?
well, count 1 is 50 years to life. Count 1 is 50 years to life. That's 25 years to life consecutive. The judge actually does have the power to run those 2 25-year-to-life sentences concurrent. Obviously, that's not going to be our position, but we'll work it out and see what the judge decides in September.
So, McKinney, have you spoken to Nipsey Hussle's family, and what was their reaction?
I have never spoken to any member of Nipsey Hussle's family. I have tried through outreach efforts to speak to someone directly. A couple of the family members did hire lawyers to represent them, so to speak, and keep them up to date on what was going on with the case, but I've never had any direct conversations with anyone.
So are you expecting any victim impact statements at the sentencing then?
Well, based on the past representations, I won't rule it out. People do change their minds, and we're in a different place today than we were before. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't say I expect it either.
John, is there anything else you can tell us now that it's over? Any other question as to the motive in this case? I know you didn't have to prove it, but the defense brought up the snitching argument, and you had mentioned jealousy at one point, I believe, in the closings. Just in your mind, I guess, do we have a solid ground on why we think this happened?
That's a great question, and something that I've thought about, because I don't believe that the conversation that they had in the parking lot is all of the motive that Eric Holder had for killing Ermias Ascadam. I think, as I tried to argue, that it probably was a compilation of factors that included some jealousy, some envy because of his success, his notoriety and love, being beloved in the neighborhood. There could be something else that we don't know. That's always a possibility, but I don't know of anything other than what it appears to be.
Hey, John, how vital were the videos and the photos, given the fact that you have such a struggle getting people to testify?
The video was absolutely essential because it took away any argument that he didn't do it. It took away any argument that he did it in self-defense. So once you take away those two defenses in a criminal case like this, it doesn't leave very much. It did leave the defense with a narrow path in arguing heat of passion, but that didn't seem to fit these facts either, but that's all they had. So I would say that the video and the stills taken from the video were absolutely essential.
You had the opportunity to speak with the jurors after.
I'm not talking.
And did they say anything as to why they did not come back with a verdict on Friday before the holiday?
I generally don't disclose any conversations that I have with jurors that are done in private, so I'll pass on that question.
Was there other video footage other than the grainy footage from the Shell gas station that you guys tried to get but you weren't able to get because there were several businesses in that strip mall?
There were other cameras attached to other businesses in the strip mall, but we got all the video that we were able to get. Whether or not someone made a video and destroyed it or didn't disclose it, I don't know. I don't have any information that did happen. There were other cameras, some that were even closer to the action, but appeared to either not be working or were streaming only. We don't have any other video than what the jurors saw.
Thank you.
Sean, were you happy with this verdict, even with them coming back with the attempted voluntary manslaughter instead of attempted murder?
Yes, I'm 100% satisfied with the verdict. As you all know, this case was really mostly about count one. Obviously, we had 2 other people shot, and we wanted justice for them too. But I'm very satisfied in the way the case was argued, deliberated on, and the verdicts that were returned.
I'm apologizing for changing the subject just a little bit, but you announced last night that you will run for DA, or if the recall qualifies. Do you want to say anything about that or comment on that?
No, I don't want to comment on that. As I stand here today, I stand here in my official capacity as a Deputy District Attorney. I'm speaking on behalf of the District Attorney and the District Attorney's office, so I don't want to use this as an opportunity to criticize the District Attorney or promote myself, but thank you for the question.
Have you spoken to DA Gascon, and what was his reaction to the verdict?
I have not spoken to him today because I've been in court since the verdict was announced. And I frankly have not spoken to him about this case at all at any time. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Could I ask you one quick question before you walk off? Bernita testified that she saw cousin Harold of Eric Holder's cousin Harold pass him a gun that might have been possibly used in this homicide. Did you ever want to bring cousin Harold into as a witness, and how come he was only identified by first name only?
He was interviewed. His home was searched. I did think about possibly subpoenaing him to court. No real reason why I didn't. And no reason why he was only identified by his first name. I frankly didn't even notice that.
Okay.
You have a pen?